Besides war, inflation, and everything we're seeing right now in the world, there's one thing that's coming. It is coming that will collapse our economy. And we have to be ready for this. Of course we do. That's why we're preppers. And I'm going to talk specifically about artificial intelligence now. Stay through this because there's some things about this that I think we all knew was coming. This video is going to show you exactly why it's coming and what's going to happen. The ramifications are huge. All right, AI right now. I use ChatGPT. I use it for a bunch of things. In reality, it's almost like a glorified Google search. I don't know if you know that. There's not really much intelligence there. It simply just takes data, tries to put it together for you and say, look, here you go. We'll put all this data in one area. But we have a new AI coming called artificial general intelligence. And one thing they're even worried about is what's called ASI, artificial superintelligence. And what happens with that? It's literally we're to the point where the computers can actually have a actual thinking process to be able to figure things out and understand things. And that's the direction we're heading. And this is huge. Eventually, when that time comes, it's called a singularity. They get this from like a black hole, where, you actually have a limit around the black hole. It's called the Chandrasekhar's limit. People love it, called it the event horizon. Either way, a singularity is a specific time in which things are going to change, where human intelligence is here and artificial intelligence, general intelligence, and superhuman intelligence will increase above that. And when that happens, boy, the things that could take place during that could be obviously huge for us. And it's even difficult for us to even comprehend or understand what's going to happen at that time. And as preppers, that's what we have to prepare for, because I want you to understand when that time comes, we're talking about as early as 2030, upwards of 90% of jobs are going to be gone because the computers can easily do it for us. We're already seeing this on YouTube. One reference I can give to you, obviously, as a content creator, is all these AI channels are popping up. Literally, these people just plug the stuff into ChatGPT. That's like no intelligence there at all. And it produces videos, pictures, thumbnails, all these things that literally require no work, where in the past, well, you'd have to have a little bit of a thinking to be able to make it happen. So labor jobs right now, for now anyway, are safe because, when we talk about as far as robots moving around, there's a classic robot for you, they really can't do the job, but anything that can be done on the computer can be easily and will be replaced. I mean, for example, for years, I hired somebody to do my finances for my accounting, for my taxes for me. Not anymore. Now I can do it. I just asked ChatGPT and it showed me exactly how to line it out. And I said, oh, it puts the things together so I can do that without having to pay another extra bill for somebody else. And that's what we're all trying to do right now, right? Save as much money as possible because inflation and everything else is so high. It's stifling. Combine that with what's coming with AI, and it's going to be a complete collapse. But when we talk about labor jobs, that's just a small subset. Things that when we talk about as far as all these different careers and jobs that people have done historically speaking, the ones that require you to do things physically with your hands are just really small in comparison. And even those jobs, as you'll see, are not safe either. No one is safe for what's coming. Now, I think about this all the time. I love business, and I have my martial arts school, for example. And I think about this someday. Will I actually have like some kind of robot martial arts teacher coming in my school? Maybe not my school, but will it happen? Because as a martial artist and a school owner, I'm really three persons in one. I'm a martial artist, and I have to keep my training going, make sure my students know exactly what's going on. And that's where my second part comes in. I'm a teacher. I teach on Goshen Prepping. I love it. I taught high school. I taught college for years. And I love teaching martial arts, explaining the concepts and why we do it. It's so cool. And the third part is I'm a business owner. I love business. I love entrepreneur mindset. I love all those things going along with it, the finances and keeping track of my P&L statement. I'm a nerd. I like that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. I lie to myself and say my job is perfectly safe because when all this comes, they're not going to want to go to some robot to learn martial arts. And does that robot even exist right now? You'll see in a minute. It doesn't have to. My job is not safe. I am completely deceiving myself because it's not about actually physically being with a robot. As we'll see, scary times are coming. Because here's the thing, when it comes to intelligence, it's all about patience. We always want to make sure we have perfect martial arts techniques and put the thought into it. And all these things with AI can run this business for me. All right, so here's the thing. It really doesn't matter And it doesn't matter if we're looking at martial arts labor jobs, and for two reasons, as you'll see. And the second reason I'll get to is far worse than the first. And here's where it gets scary. The first reason, think about this. Although, let's say my martial arts job is secure, my business is secure, I can keep going without some kind of cool Tesla robot coming out doing his karate chops. Well, who says all my clientele are safe? Because who are my clientele? I have a lot of parents, their kids are on my mats learning martial arts and self-defense. I have a lot of adults. I have a really popular adult class. Where are they going to get their money from? Because we're talking about 90% of the job force. We have accountants and we have teachers, etc., which AI is going to get to the point where literally it can think better than we can. I'm a pretty intelligent guy. I've had a lot of experience and doing a lot of things between my degrees in physics and math and being a physician. And I mean, the list goes on and on. But it's going to be nothing compared to the intelligence that's going to be seen with these computers. When we talk about this superhuman intelligence, I'll look at it and say, wow, I can't believe it figured that out. That's incredible. We're already heading in that direction anyway. And all these people who have just regular jobs that require a little bit of thought, maybe they're an accountant, for example, there's a whole bunch of them. Well, the computers can do it much faster, much more efficiently. And now all my clientele who pay to keep my lights on and pay for my rent to be able to teach martial arts aren't going to be paying anymore. So even though my job may be safe, maybe I'm an electrician, my job may be safe. I'm a plumber. My job may be safe because we all know robots aren't going to want to do any type of plumbing jobs, at least for a while. Well, guess what? There's no money to pay these people to do the job. So in reality, nothing's going to be safe. And that's where we talk about this, because when we see all this money not being paid to people anymore because robots can do it or AI can do it, it's going to cause a collapse in the economy. That's the thing. Our economy is unstable as it is. So it's not simply just boom, that singularity hits and now computers are smarter. We're heading in a direction where there's going to be less and less and less and less jobs. Think about all the different types of jobs. I'll go through a few. Teachers, AI can teach it. Accountants, selling insurance. Lawyers, authors, graphic designers, market traders, doctors, Goshen Prepping YouTuber. Yeah, none of these jobs are secure because eventually the computers can do it better than us. So here's the thing. The type of jobs where you're typing on a computer or using a computer, that's the jobs we're talking about that may not be safe. But other jobs are in jeopardy too, like truck drivers, delivery drivers, Uber, etc., manufacturing line workers, warehouse workers, engineers, architects. We've already seen where they have robots in place and they're using the employees we have now to train those robots. So in the future, those robots can do it better because it's safer for you. That's literally what they've told these workers. Safer, you may as well just stay home. And that's where we're going to get to the second thing, because when we see these huge changes in the economy so in shambles, look, we've already seen situations where we need to shelter in place. What better place for you to be right now than be at home? Listen, you can stay home. You can watch TV. Robots can deliver food to you. You can watch your favorite shows. You can play video games. Spend time with your family. And you know what? Since 90% or more of the workforce is no longer working anymore, don't worry about it. We are now in a socialized state. Just relax at home and everything is just fine. I see that coming. And so look, as a martial arts teacher, I could easily see not a Tesla robot doing martial arts, but your kid sitting at home in the living room now with an AI-generated, super intelligent AI-generated robot at home doing the moves for real time, saying, all right, listen, little Jimmy, when you do this chop, you do it like this, and the hand's got to be straight and the wrist is straight. And it's a better teacher than you and I. I love to teach, but it will see all the nuances and understand psychology. Look, it takes me hours, days to read a book. They have that book information like that instantly. Oh, psychologically speaking, Jimmy, I know why you're lashing out right now. Let me explain and try this and let me feed your dopamine. And it's going to be a much better everything than us. It is coming. And that's the scary part, because it's going to be doing two things. One, taking away jobs, which will crash the economy, and then making it so practically we're all stuck in our houses all the time. How do I see trends? This is how I do things, by the way. I always look to see how it used to be in the past, the good old days, the good old 80s, right? Or even 90s. Today, how everybody's stuck to their screen and not wanting to go out. And even when they're friends, I see this, all these friends are hanging out on their own phones. So I always look to see how we got to A to B, and then C is like a worst case scenario of B. Everybody's going to want to be stuck at home. Their friends are at home with them. Hey, Jimmy, you want to learn some martial arts with me today? Sure. And literally everything's done at home on the TV. It is going to be the ultimate socialized state. Stay shelter in place. Everything's provided for you, courtesy of the state. And speaking of deliveries for you, yes, why not a robot? Look at this. His name is Neo. And it looks like, oh, wow, he's autonomous. He's not autonomous yet. He's not there. All through this commercial, there's somebody remotely controlling him. And the price for him, only $20,000. So what's all the buzz about? Here's the situation. Right now, this robot is completely not automated. They have somebody controlling him. Literally, it's a virtual control. It's really neat, by the way. And this robot's neat stuff anyway. I was like, wow, look at this cool guy. But the company is brilliant. People don't see what's coming. They think, oh, wow, they can't even get this robot to do anything. So yeah, right now, they've kind of like made this robot. They got all the parts moving. He's nice and soft and cozy looking. He can look at you, etc. But what's coming is the brains. Right now, we're living in the age of ChatGPT, and that's his brain, which isn't much of one, by the way. When we get into actual AGI, where they start to think and do things on their own, or even ASI, superintelligence, which is coming, that's what this company's banking on. Let's make the body now, because we know a time's coming very shortly where we can put the brains in this guy, and we already have the robot done for sale for $20,000. Now, I don't have $20,000 for this guy, and I'm sure you don't either. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't spend $20,000 on it. But are you really the person it's shooting for? Because they're getting the idea out. We can get this robot out. Very handy as like a 4-hour battery life, and off he goes. But think about this. What is minimum wage? And if you take minimum wage times 40 hours a week, even if you get somebody to work that much, and times 52 weeks, it's pretty darn close to $20,000. So think about this. As an employer, you do have some kind of company that's like service-based. Maybe you have food going out, and all this other stuff's happening as far as the collapse of economy, and there's no workers, etc. Do you want to pay this person who doesn't want to show up on time, who gives you an attitude, who's lazy, who doesn't come in half the days, who complains about this and this and this, or that same $20,000, put it into this robot, and now we have this brand new workforce? Think about this. So not only are we going to be losing all these jobs, but now we have the robots who are going to be the ones taking these jobs once the AI gets smart enough. Think about that. It's going to be, again, a total collapse of society that's going to lead to, well, even more problems. Why? Because we already see a separation of classes. You know, the middle class is disappearing. Right now we have people who are, I don't want to say low class, that sounds really demeaning. We have people who don't have a lot of money. Maybe they do have some money coming in from the state, you know, which I'm all for, the state helping out the people who need it. Food stamps, SNAP. Watch my last video. I'll link after this one about the problems with that. Then we have the middle class who honestly struggles all the time. You know, we get the illusion that, oh, we can possibly break free from this rat race and make a little bit more money, but it's all a lie, by the way. And then the wealthy class, and this gap is getting wider and wider. But look, once we collapse the economy, this middle class disappears and everybody gets pushed down here, all pushed on this social state, while the wealthier ones become more wealthy and control everything. That's the direction we're heading. And it's definitely not one of the happiest things in the world. This may not be like, you know what, you better hurry up and buy your extra cans of tuna for the basement. Maybe not. That situation may or may not happen, but a collapse of economy and heading in that direction is the biggest thing we do have to worry about, because once that happens, once this collapse happens, there will be problems with society until this new part takes over. And who knows? I doubt it, but who knows? Maybe you're one of those people who are like, I can't wait during that time so I could sit around and never have to work again. And I'll tell you right now, more and more kids want that to happen. It's the transition, getting from there to there. That's what we have to worry about, and that's what this video is about. We have to be ready. We have to prepare, because it's going to be dangerous times until that transition takes place. And unfortunately, even though I'm an optimist, I don't think there's anything we can do to stop it now. It's already on its way. What do you think about all this? Put it in the comments below. I'd like to get your thoughts also, because even like self-driving cars, people are like, oh, it's a fantasy land. No, it's not. If you go anywhere in the Southwest, self-driving cars are everywhere. They literally have truck lines now, self-driving truck lines that deliver goods from one warehouse to the next with no people in the truck at all. And that's right now with just regular AI. Once the good stuff comes around, they're not going to need any of us for any labor. And now we're all in this socialized class together. Scary thoughts, isn't it? Put in the comments below, what do you think about this? And of course, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your time, and be with your family and prepare. Thanks for watching, everybody.